Welcome back, class. Now we are going to be discuss the relationship between the workers and employers. And in previous video, you are discussing about the relationship between IT workers and employers, and we will discuss about the software piracy, trade secret. Trade secret is again that will be continue. Mean to say that sometime we will consider we have some business information that is generally unknown for the public, but if uh, any IT employees it leak it will be unethical. And some information about the company financial data, it may be the some employees database, that is a keep confidential. Okay. Then the companies, that is all they are doing the uh, with the relation of a customer, they are doing in different trading than the and face different cost and develop their business. That's all are basically trade secret, and we need to be a as a IT workers, they are well known about these things and they can get easily these kind of information, but it is a have a some um, problem for the organization, so it is a not a good thing. And that's a relationship, they need to be a trade secrets and keep all information confidential. And right now I'm discuss about the next whistleblowing. That is a one of the again that's a effort where the people employs sorry of a company to attract the attention of others to negligence, to illegal, unethical, abusive, or dangerous act that will be threatened to the public interest. Again, the whistleblowing is the one of a concept where company going to be attract the employees and the other people, how the rights and how the negligence and what the illegal things that will be not interest of a public. So the purpose of a whistleblowing policy for a company that they just want to encourage their employees to do a good work, right work on the right time, and create awareness to the in the public as well as internal organizations, and the guide the stakeholders that we are our policy and we are doing a right work. And especially the corporate governance from which the overall company stakeholders, the company management things are sort out. Okay. That is the whistleblowing concept. That's something that is related to the relationship between IT workers and the employees. That's not just especially to IT workers, that's employers and many other professionals that doing the same things. Fine. Now the next topic that we are going to discuss, that is again the relationship, but right now we discuss about the relationship between IT workers and the clients. What the client have a good relation and IT workers. IT workers provide the service to the client, like some clients are the co-worker who was a part of the same organization as the IT worker is doing the work. But the and somehow in other cases we can see client is not a part of a same organization, it's only the part of the other organization. Anyhow, IT workers normally that provide the hardware, as we already discussed, software and services to certain cost within a given time frameworks. Okay, that is the duty of a basically a IT worker. But again, the relationship between the IT workers and the client, that as a both party, each party that should be agree to provide the something, some value to other. Reason is that they are take care of their concern, and mainly, general speaking, we talk that IT workers provide the hardware, software services, best services, and a cheapest and a reasonable cost within a given time framework. And they both party, mean to say clients and IT workers, have a committed to receive value with each others, and according to the committed time. For example, if we talk about like IT workers might be agree to implement the new payroll, account payable software package that meet the client requirement. Okay, the client basically that time providing the compensation against of this project. What he will do, he provide the compensation. Okay, and provide the access to key contact and the workspace. Okay, client will be provide against this compensation and access to key contact and a workplace. The relation usually it will be built the relation, that's a documentary work. Relationship is usually documented and a contractual term that in both party are agree on their values, and client make the decision about the project based on information. Fine. But before it, just in the contract, when the uh, contract terms are decided, we can say who does what, what who does what, and when the work will be begin, and how long it will take the time, and how much the client pay, and so on. That's all are basically documentary work. Terms and conditions, you can say terms and conditions will be decided. And if we talk about the IT, although all these things basically expert of IT and a client both are on a single page, both party work together to successful of their uh, mean to say decisions for successful of their product and services. Uh, Normally, the client make decision about the project based on informations, alternatives, and the recommendation provided by IT workers. Client will take a decision about the project. That's all thing based on the information, alternative, and recommendation that providing from the IT workers. Fine. And the client have a trust IT worker to act uh, in client best interest, because client want to uh, profit, and so he's doing work with the help of the IT workers. So they have a trust on the IT worker. He will do a good work. He will be doing a work in his best interest. And last is the IT worker trust that client will provide it relevant information about the projects, and the listen and the understanding of each and everything about the product with the suitable compensations. Fine. That is the relationship between the IT workers. But we know that's a number of ethical problem generate if both party will be not waste their time, if they not waste their time and committed to do the work on a, as we already discussed, they will do the work according to the time frameworks. But many ethical problem will be faced sometime, and now we discuss it maybe down the next page. Just wait. Yes, some ethical problem right if the company recommended its own. Okay, one of which that the ethical problem that can be interference with the relationship between the IT workers and their client, that involve IT consultant and auditors who recommended their own product and services. When IT workers and editors recommend their own product and services, or maybe the affiliated vendor to remedy to a problem they have detected. In such situation, potential and determine objectivity of an IT worker is just in a case of a conflict of interest. Okay, that's again that creating a conflict, that create a conflict of interest when a company vendors, a company mm, uh, consultant, IT consultant, whatever our auditors want the product and service that remedy problem they have detected. Fine, and problem arise during the project if the IT workers. Sometime, let's suppose I take an example, just like in a that's a conflict. It is a basically just wait, where is the cuts? I'm talking about the create a conflict interest. Just take an example with conflict between the IT workers and the IT firm, self-interest and interest of the client. It will be occur. For example, IT consultant firm might be hired to assess a firm IT strategy plan. Okay, that creating a IT strategy plan, and they are just making the IT IT strategy plan from any vendor, from any other organization. After a few weeks of analysis, consultant firm might provide a poor rating for existing strategy and insist that it will be a harmful the company product and services and not will be developed according to the new strategy plan. Then what will be happen? That the finding would be arise that vendor objectivity and recommendation can be uh, cannot be trusted that time. It is a basically same ethical problem that we am discussing about, that area of uh, conflict of interest will be occur that time when just IT workers consultant uh, just providing their own product and services. Fine, the problem also arise during the project if IT worker are unable to provide the full information. You know, if we providing the full information and accurate reporting of project status, that will create again a problem. That will create again a problem when we find not a full information, lack of information, tool and experience that needed to perform accurate assessment, but not providing these kind of information. You know that creating a lack of project status, lack of project status, projects lack of uh, project status, and that's finger pointing that heated discuss can be causes different causes, that may be the fraud, that may be the mispresentations, that may be the breach of contract. Okay, that's considered as a different problem for the organizations, and making a relation between the IT workers and client. Like fraud, that will be considered as a one of a crime of obtaining goods and services or property through the deception or the trickery. In fraudulent mispresentation, that will be occur simply the person is conscious decide to induce another person rely on an act of a mispresentation, that's considered as a crime. That's not misleading to the mean to say in a case of a property, in a service and a goods. Okay, misrepresentations, again the misstatement or incomplete statement of material fact. When we talk about the mispresentation that cause a party of enter into a contract, that party may have the right to the cancel contract or seek reimbursement for damages. Another party may be that is a mispresentation that the cause of a party to enter into a contract. That party may have the right to cancel the contract. This company have a right to cancel the contract to seek the reimbursement for the damages. And the next is the breach of contract. If this kind of problem will be occur, then what will be happen? Like breach of contract, in this case, one party failed to meet the term of contract, then it is a case of a breach of contract, and both are basically wanting their material breach of contract. They are basically using uh, party that fail, but they are using to apply with express and applied obligation, not be fulfill the requirement. So we will consider that the breach of contract, again the non-breaching party may be a rescinds the contract, seek restitution of any compensation paid to the breaching party, and the discharge from any further performance under the contract. But the IT project joint sometime creating a joint effort in which vendor and customer both are work together. When there are problem, it is a difficult to assign who is at fault. It is a very difficult thing because normally on a faulty person and a both party, maybe the one side maybe the partially at fault and the other side is a mostly fault, but thing is that the client and vendor often disagree about who is to be the blame in such circumstances. That is a consider following frequent reasons causes for IT project. For the vendor side and the customer side, the project will be going to be a wrong and a difficult, will not be able to complete. The reason is that the different reasons that we are going to be discussed. Okay, just in the next. Yes, develop a good working relation with the supplier. But before it to discuss, the customer change the scope of project or a system requirement. Difficulty normally company are face when the customer change the scope of project or system requirement. And the second is a poor communication between the customer and vendor. It may maybe create a problem. Okay, communication between customer and vendor is a poor. Third point, we can say vendor deliver a system that meet customer requirement, but competitor come out with the advanced system that having some useful features that create a problem. Customer fail to reveal information about the legacy system or a database that make the new system extremely difficult to implement. If the customer will not provide it to appropriate information, that automatically the system, the newly system, extremely difficult to implement. That is one of the different reason that we are going to be discuss, that create a problem, unethical behavior between the workers and client. Fine, it is a representation, it may be the breach of contract, it may be the fraud, consider fraud. That's a number of ethical problem that we need to be faced in a relationship between the IT workers and the clients. Fine. Now we will move the next slides.